Bob didn't shoot. He didn't want to kill Natalia. He was in love with her. Bob's brain went down the only road you can go down if you're in love with someone. He started thinking that maybe he could capture her, find a cure or something. A bloody zombie was charging at him, obviously about to attack him. He had a gun, but he wasn't using it. Bob had spent his entire adult life telling everyone his plans about the zombie apocalypse and how he would survive when everyone else would die. And finally, the zombie apocalypse arrives, and Bob was going to die in the first 10 minutes because of a pair of tits. Now that's love.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of shooting the zombie, he slowly said, "Natalia, it's me, Bob." He seemed to remember that in some shitty movies, talking slowly to a zombie, you could jog its memory, or something shitty like that. It didn't jog her memory. "Wait, Natalia!" Bob put out his arms to bear hug her, and she lunged at him, baring and snapping her teeth. For a moment they were in the air, locked in a pose, both eagerly anticipating their collision. Bob looked down at Natalia's heaving, blood-covered breasts and longed to squeeze them. Natalia looked at Bob's double chin and longed to rip the flesh from it. She couldn't wait to savor the tasty meat inside his neck and suck the warm river of blood flowing beneath his skin, attempting to quench her unquenchable thirst. Bob couldn't wait to rub his face in her boobies, attempting to quench his eternal love for motorboating. They both got what they longed for. They collided breast to face, forming a bloody motorboat bear hug. A millisecond of ecstasy for Bob transformed into flesh-ripping pain as the thing that used to be Natalia grabbed into both sides of his neck. Her bath salt zombie strong fingers pierced his layer of fat and dug into the mixture of muscle and vein below. The zombie tore both sides at once around Bob's neck, and blood shot out in the shape of a red peacock. She shoved one handful of fat and blood into her mouth and swallowed as much of it as she could before the impulse to bite into his neck overcame her. Bob screamed and somehow wondered if he could still subdue her like a fucking dumbass. She bit into the right side hole she made in his neck and chewed into the muscle, like a bear eating into the ass of a carcass. Bob's right arm twitched as the shoulder muscles spasmed. His bear hug unwound and she dropped in front of him. Now they were only connected by her jaw biting the inside of his shoulder. She wiggled and the flesh tore, veins ripped out of Bob's neck like snapping rubber bands. They separated. She had a giant mouthful of fat, skin, muscle, and vein, like a lion eating a whale. Bob dropped to the ground. Blood shot out of his neck like a bag with a hole. The bath salt zombie roared behind her mouthful of shoulder fat, then began using both hands to shove the mouthful down her throat. Putting Matt Stoney to shame, the zombie scarfed down the hunk of Bob's shoulder in a few inhuman gulps. The zombie roared into the air like Godzilla and tore at her own chest, scratching it more and drawing her own blood. Then she leaned over and ripped at Bob's shoulder, beginning to eat his entire body, shoulder down. Bob died like a dumbass.